All right, the Virginia Beach market report for September 2023. The Virginia Beach market still remains very strong. Houses are selling for higher prices and they're selling quicker than they were a year ago. Let's dive into the details. So the median home price in Virginia Beach is up from last year. Last year we were about $340. This year we're anywhere from $350 to $370, depending on the exact city and neighborhood. So prices are up approximately 6% year over year. We're seeing also that days on market, the time it takes for a typical home to sell, is down from 16 days to 15 days. So pretty much the same, not much different, but it is just a little bit quicker. So in summary, houses are selling faster and for more money than they were a year ago. We also know that interest rates today are a lot higher than they were last year, and that's causing the current market that we have today. So let's talk about that for a little bit here. So we're going to dive into and talk about supply and demand. So first off, let's talk supply. So when it comes to supply, we mean homes for sale on market. How many people are looking to sell their home? They want to move. Now we know that approximately 80% of homeowners that have a mortgage today have interest rates that are less than 4%. And you can imagine that if you're one of those people, you might be somewhat reluctant to give up a 2.5% interest rate when you're going to go buy something at 7.5, or even 8%. So people don't want to give up these low interest rates and pick up something higher. One, it's going to cost them more money. And two, we're never going to see those interest rates again. And it's almost like if I give that up, I'm losing the game of life. And nobody wants to do that because they can't say that anymore. It's almost like beating your neighbor because I have a lower interest rate, right? Nobody wants to sell their home. We're finding that people who are downsizing, older homeowners, maybe empty nesters, they want to move out, go into a smaller home. They're finding that the house they own now with the bigger payment is actually cheaper every month than downsizing to a smaller house because the interest rates are causing that payment to be even bigger. So they are choosing to stay put in their current house, even though it's too big for them, because of the low interest rate that they have on their most recent refinance. On the other hand, the folks who are upsizing, going from a smaller home to a bigger home, are finding that it is prohibitively expensive for them to get into the bigger home, so they too are choosing to stay put. The end result, the people who own a house in the local market today are just not selling unless they fall into one of two categories. Category one, military, active duty military members who are either on orders to move away or retiring and choosing to go somewhere else. Or number two, people who die. So the people who are selling their homes are typically around here, folks who are on orders on active duty who are leaving their homes, or estate sales. That's pretty much our supply here in the local area. Now let's talk about demand. We said we're talking supply and demand. Supply is way down, but so is demand because interest rates are very high. As of today, interest rates on a 30-year jumbo are almost 8%. Typical home right now is looking about 7.25% for a VA loan. So interest rates are incredibly high compared to where they were even just a year ago. And of course, that's causing a lot of reluctance to jump into the housing market as a buyer. So whether that's because you feel that how the interest rates are going to come down, or you think there's an impending crash, or you just can't afford it, it doesn't really matter because the interest rates are higher than they were over the last little bit. That means that folks are just not really looking to buy. Now, interesting fact, 1 and 2 years ago, we were looking at 50-year lows, actually historic lows on interest rates. And here we are today, just 12, 24 months later, we are actually above the 50-year average for home loans, for mortgage rates. That's a pretty big swing. And that's why demand is down. So supply, list of homes for sale, is down. Demand is also down. So supply and demand curve, think about high school economics. We know that that's how we determine prices. What we're finding is because both of them are so severely suppressed that housing prices are actually remaining stable or even ticking up. And that's because even though it's really low, demand is outpacing supply. There are more folks coming into the area who are military on orders or need a place to live, and they are looking to buy even at higher interest rates because sometimes they just have to, or it's that time in their life where it's time. So that's our supply and demand conversation. Supply is down, demand is also down, but demand is outpacing supply. End result, housing prices are remaining steady or going a little bit higher. So the next question you might have is, should I buy or should I sell? Well, that's a great question that is not appropriate for a video answer, right? Because it's so unique to each and every individual. Only you know your specific scenario and whether it makes sense to you to be a buyer or a seller today. I can tell you that our unique scenario as investors buying investment properties, we are buying every month because we believe that housing prices are going to continue to appreciate over the near, middle, and even the long term. So for us, it makes sense to go in and be buyers, even at higher interest rates on an investment property, because the numbers still work and we believe they're appreciating. On the other hand, if you are not in the same position as us, maybe you have a different view on the economy and where things are going, you might think it's okay to wait. I might just disagree. So when it comes to where the prices are going, I think interest rates are going to stay high. They're not going to come down and prices are going to go up. But let's play a game. Let's pretend that interest rates do come down. Right now, let's say they're at 7%. If they drop to 6%, we know that nationwide, we're going to see approximately 10 million more buyers come on the market. What happens then? Demand is going up. Well, will that also affect supply? Maybe a little bit. Price is going to go up. In theory, it should cause more people to want to sell. That interesting nuance of interest rate, though, we still have 80% of the buyers with less than 4% interest rates. 6% is still more than 4%. So if interest rates drop from 7 down to 6%, supply may not change all that much, but demand is sure going to go up. Imagine if it goes down to 5, it's going to go up even more. Another 20 million buyers come on the market. Maybe supply comes up a little bit, but you know that housing prices are going up, right? So prices are going up when interest rates drop, and everybody who has that house right now at 7%, what are they doing? They're refinancing. They just refinanced, and now housing interest rates go back up again the year later. And what just happened? Now we have 85 to 90% of homeowners locked in with interest rates that are lower than the prevailing, and they just don't want to sell. So I don't see the market changing appreciably over the next several years when it comes to the supply and demand lockup, if you will. I think we're going to continue to see this market for years to come, which means that housing prices are going to continue to remain steady or slightly up at higher interest rates. That's my outlook. So now where are we right now? We are in a extreme seller's market. We only have approximately 1.5 months of supply of homes for sale in Virginia Beach. It's about 1.7 months supply of homes for sale. So it means that if no other houses came on the market, in a month and a half, they would all be sold. That's that metric. And we know that a balanced market where supply and demand are equal, buyers and sellers are in equilibrium, that's approximately somewhere between 4 and 6 months supply. So we know we need to see 2 to 3 times more homes for sale before we'll even have a chance of reaching equilibrium, assuming demand doesn't change. So we know that right now, the number of signs we see out in the yards is very small. You're going to need to multiply that by 3, 4, or even 5 before we can see that we are past equilibrium and move into a buyer's market. So I know a lot of folks might say, hey, I'm waiting for the crash. It's happening. 2008. 2008 crashed because there was a significant amount of supply. We had all of those foreclosures and all that other stuff. We don't have that today. You may hear headlines about foreclosures doubling. Yeah, well, 1 doubled is 2. It's still a really small number in actual numbers. And that's where we are with foreclosures. There's just no supply. So until we see a significant uptick in supply, a significant uptick in the number of homes for sale and for sale signs in the yards, we're just not going to see a neutral market. All right. So it's going to continue to remain in a seller's market for a good time to come. All right. So now what if you are thinking about being a buyer in today's market here in Virginia Beach? Well, there's 3 things that you need to do to set yourself apart so that you can get the home that you want. There's not many to choose from. So we need to get out there and find those homes. So 1, we're going to get pre-approved. That pre-approval letter is going to prove to our sellers that we can afford the home, we're serious, and we're a good bet when it comes to multiple offers, that we're the one to choose. Number 2, we need to be fast and nimble. When a house hits the market, we need to go see it today. We can't say, hey, it hit the market today on Tuesday, let's go see it this weekend. It's probably not for sale this weekend. It's probably already sold and under contract. Now, if you're looking at homes that are looking good, HGTV, they've got good pictures, they're staged, they don't need work, everybody wants those. And so they're in high demand. When they hit the market, they're going to go. The things that are sitting for 21, 30 days are the things that are overpriced, not presented well, they don't look good, they need repairs. The things that most buyers are not looking for are the things that are sitting for a while on the market. So if you want to be ready to get one of those properties, if you want to buy one of those properties that is looking good, you need to be ready to move quickly. So that means when it hits your email or we call you today, that day we need to drop what we're doing and go look at it. That's what we have to do to be nimble and fast in today's market. Number 3 is we need to be flexible. We are going to do a couple things. We're going to say, hey, how much can I, should I, or want to spend? We're going to have that number. We're also going to have a list. We're going to have a list of the things I must have and the things I want to have. Well, those things we probably need to be a little bit flexible. I mean by that is be ready to, if you say, hey, these must-haves and nice-to-haves are a thing and that must be what you have, you might have to change your purchase price. You might have to pay more, and you need to be prepared to do that. If that's your fixed item, then you should be prepared to possibly give on one of your must-haves. Certainly be able to give on your nice-to-haves. You need to say, hey, what is my no kidding, this is okay? Because if you say, I must have these things, and this is my absolute price, you may find that you're on the market for months on end and you're just not winning offers because you can't find anything that's in your price range that is what you want. So the point to that, number 3, was be flexible, either on the total price that you're willing to pay, the monthly price, or on your list of must-haves and nice-to-haves. As a seller, on the other hand, you might be saying, hey, that's great. What a great problem to have. We're in an extreme seller's market. I don't have to do anything and my house is going to sell. I'm going to get top dollar. It's going to sell right away. This is great. Yeah, maybe. However, it's unlikely. If you don't present it well, if you don't have it prepared, if you don't have professional photos and staging, it's not going to be as appealing to the buyers as the other house. There aren't that many out there, but all it takes is one to beat yours out. So if you really want to be the person who gets that fair market plus price, you're like, hey, that's the fair market and I'm getting a little bit more, I'm selling mine before the weekend. If that's the case, you need to do a few things, and that's, curb appeal, clean, stage, professional photos. We basically have a list of the things, a process of what you need to do. And when you do that, you sell it, and you sell it fast, and you sell it for good money. On the other hand, if you're looking to save a couple bucks, you think it's not worth it, don't be surprised if your house sits for a little while and you end up not getting the price you want. So the takeaway, as a seller, you want to be presenting your house, put your best foot forward. We want to clean it. We want curb appeal. We want to have repairs made, and we want that thing staged and looking awesome so that buyers come in, they say, this is my home. I love it. Buyers buy with emotion, and so we need to give them that. That's what we need to do to sell our property well. All right, so I hope we had a nice discussion today. We talked about where we are in the market. It's an extreme seller's market, 1.5 months supply. We said if it's, we believe that prices are going to continue to stay steady or go higher, and that interest rates are going to remain roughly where they are. I don't think the market's going to get much better for buyers anytime in the near future, and we are actually still buying. So we have finished it up with a discussion of how to succeed as a buyer and a seller. For a buyer, it was 3 things. We said we want to be pre-approved. We want to be nimble, move fast, and we want to be able to be flexible with either our price or our list of must-haves. And then as a seller, we talked about having curb appeal, staging, professional photos, clean it up, getting all the repairs done, all those things to make it look like the next person's home. All right, so there we go. There's our market update for September of 2023. If you have any questions, please give me a call. Talk soon.